Beautiful. Alright boys and girls, and how's it going? Welcome back to the channel today. So the support from the last video was mental, so I love you guys. Thank you very much for commenting down below. Let me know how you feel, and it's really good. So I don't really reply to a lot of comments. I kind of see them and then I get really distracted, so I kind of make up for that in the next video where I talk to you guys and say thank you and stuff like that. Today's video, we are changing the front brakes, the front discs and pads. They're both pretty screwed, so we're going to change them up. Here's the discs right here, drilled and grooved. Now, a lot of people are going to be like, Luke, they're going to just crack and all of that. No, they probably won't, not going to lie, because usually the ones that crack is when they get overheated and they start to, if the holes are drilled right through, that's when they start cracking, because obviously when they get too hot, they get warped. And then they just, yeah, it just too much, heats too much for it, and they just crack straight away. So these aren't drilled right through, so I know for a fact they'll be fine. I haven't really heard of this make before. It's called, like, don't judge me on this, they're called Mintex, and I know they're cheap for what they are, but like, I'm one of them people where I don't really care about, you know, paying like for another set if I have to, if these are crap. But like, from what I've read up so far and like on how they look, like, pretty much, not gonna lie, they look really good, decent, like, you know, half decent quality, not gonna lie. There's something, you know, they're like around the Pagid brakes and that sort of mark, which, you know, it's pretty much like OEM original, but they look really good. The pads look really good. And for those of you that didn't know what pads are made out of, most of them are made out of fish bones, so there you go. Quick tip of the day. We're gonna go down to my work. I'm gonna fit them up. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to talk through it whilst I do it. I might have to do like the set up a camera and just do like a voice overlay afterwards. I don't know what's going to be, depending on how busy it is, etc, etc. I don't want to start shouting out and start speaking on camera if there's loads of customers and that there at my work. But yeah, I'm going to go down and do that. It's obviously out of work time because, you know, it's my half day, so I can do this. That's why I'm in my normal clothes. But yeah, we're going to head down there now. Let's get all this done. Hopefully I can get you through a decent tutorial and it should be a good video. But yeah, sit back, relax and enjoy. Let's fit these discs and pads and hopefully it should be pretty easy. I hate these flipping Ford wheel nuts, shit.
Yeah, you're terrible, isn't it?
Right guys, so the tools used in this video are on screen right now. I had myself a 1/4 inch ratchet with a 13mm socket and a 15mm socket. We had a wire brush, we had long nose grips, a hammer, we had liquid buffer, brake cleaner, white grease paste, we had the Loctite lubricant and obviously the grease to go on the back of the pads as well, along with the elephant grips for pushing the piston back. So let's get straight into it. First thing you want to do is obviously take off the caliper bolts itself, and then we can move on to the carrier bolts after that. So this is the 13mm socket you have to use for this one. Sometimes they can be pretty hard to come off, but mine weren't too bad. The bolt, there is like a little, like, I don't really know how to put it, like, explain it, like a washer or something right at where the bolt is, and it sometimes spins, so you can't undo the nut itself. So I got a pair of long nose grips on it, long nose mole grips on it, and then I undid it, just held it in place, and I've done it with a ratchet, like as you can see on screen right now, which is pretty easy to do. Once that's all done, you can obviously get them out and stuff like that. And then I moved on to this bottom one as well, which was a bit tighter. Sometimes you may have to, you know, get like a hammer on it and hit the end of your ratchet. You know, you're probably not supposed to, but that's what I did anyway. And as you can see here, I used the long nose grips. That's the bit where the little washer bit is, and you just literally hold it in place and then undo it like so, just so that it just doesn't keep spinning. So once that's done, you can take the caliper out itself, and then obviously we can move on to removing the pads. The first pad was pretty easy to get off. I had no problems, just got myself a pry bar. That's one thing I didn't mention, is we're using a pry bar as well. Used a pry bar to get the pad out. Pretty easy, pretty easy compared to the back one anyway, because it was like the back one was like seized right on. It's horrendous. I had to get like a hammer and all sorts of stuff on it. It was literally annoying me so much. But you know, if as long as you can get a bit of grip, as long as you can get somewhere to pry it off, it's relatively easy to come off. Whereas with the back one, I just had to get a hammer on it. As you can see here, I was getting a hammer on it, just got a bit in, and then it easily slipped out, which was pretty easy to do. And that's obviously how the pads ended up. They were just wearing unevenly. I don't know what was going on. I don't know if my sliders were bad or something like that, but we'll get into the sliders and everything else in just a minute. So the next thing was obviously getting the carrier off. And as you can see, I had put some force on it. The whole hub was going down with a shock and everything. It was just really, really tight. I got a hammer on it and it came off and was really easy to do in the end. I know you're not supposed to hit it with a ratchet with a hammer, but you know, I should have got a torque wrench and that on it really, but I couldn't in the end. So you've got a torque wrench, use a torque wrench. So that's that done. Both carrier bolts off, carriers off now, and obviously we can remove the old disc. And as you can see, the old disc on the front was not too bad, but the back of it was horrendous. So obviously I think something's going on with my slider bolts, and obviously my caliper's not performing as good as it should be. So that's that done. I thought whilst I got the carrier and caliper off, I'd clean them up. So obviously I got the brake cleaner out and I was cleaning where the pads would sit in the little grooves. Make sure you clean it all out, get some wire brushes on it, get your brake cleaner on it, just make sure you wire brush everything. I mean, you can put new like where the pads sit, it comes with like new clips. Those clips I was just wire brushing, then you can put new ones into them if you want to. I didn't have any of these on me at the time, but yeah, once that's pretty much that done. And then I moved on to the slider bolt. So this is where your white grease comes in handy. You always need to make sure these are all greased up really well, because obviously this is what, you know, this is where you can start getting like where your brake caliper can start seizing up and just start binding together with your disc and it will just not move and stuff like that. So keep an eye on your sliders, make sure they're working as they should, get some white grease in them and they will be good to go with no problems whatsoever. Yeah, so I've just done both of them, make sure they're both right, because obviously that's what you want to make sure both of them right, make sure they're both, you know, pushing down and squeezing in as they should be, exactly the same, because if one's not doing as well as the other one, then you could fall into some problems. Then I moved on to obviously the caliper itself and just cleaned that up a bit, just make sure you get the bits that you're going to do. Then we put on the disc itself. So here is a drilled and grooved disc. It looks really nice. I'm just cleaning it up here with some liquid buffer, because obviously they coat it in stuff to stop it from like rusting, and it's like a ceramic coating or something like that. I can't remember what it was, but just clean it all off because it's horrible and it's like greasy, and you know, it's just better for you when your pads go on and that as well. So put the disc on, slits in nice and easy. Don't worry if it's a bit wobbly, because it will be, because obviously the pads, when the piston pushes against the pads, it's all going to go into place, and obviously your wheel bolted back on and we'll put it all into place as well. So here is the carrier bolts. We're putting some Loctite on them. Make sure you do this as well, just so that it keeps everything Loctite in place, because you don't want them bolts coming off at all, because that will cause massive problems. So make sure they're all done up tightly. I'm putting the carrier bolts back in now as you see on screen. So just make sure you do them up really tightly. There is torque settings for them. I didn't go by the torque settings. I just went by as hard as I could, like as hard down as I could push really, because these are the main bits you want to get done, is the carrier bolts, because if they're really not tight, well obviously you want to make sure the carrier bolt and the caliper bolts are tight, but you really want to make sure the carrier bolts are tight. So here's we're putting some white grease on the ends of the pads just so it slides in nicely, and we obviously got the grease to go on the end of the pads itself, just so that it's a lot easier for when you put it in. All of that goes in nice and easy as it should. It's relatively easy to do pads and discs if you're like new to stuff like this. I mean, doing, you know, like 4-port pistons, 6-port pistons be a different story, but I haven't got to that yet, so we're not gonna have a go. So here we are with the elephant grips, I call them. I can't remember what they call them, like elephant grips, like piston grips. You can use a wind back tool, but I had this tool I used. I just pushed up against the piston. Some of you guys will be going down in the comments saying, Luke, don't do it, because they will get trapped in your brake lines, stuff like that. It's fine, honestly. I've done it numerous times. It was absolutely fine. And obviously then you can put the caliper back on itself, no problems whatsoever, relatively easy to do. Make sure you can do, if you want to put some Loctite on your caliper bolts as well, you can. Mine has some Loctite on it already, so I just left it as it was, and obviously I did the bolts up. And then when you're doing the bolts up again, remember that little washer bit at the top, make sure you just clamp that down with your long nose grips or whatever you've got to do it with, and just tighten it up like you normally would, and just make sure it is on nice and tight, because you don't want to run into any problems. So there's me just doing up the bottom bolt here, really easy, and we're pretty much getting to the end of the installation now. And yeah, there you go, all looks good, ready to go. So if you've enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, guys. It was hopefully it's been a nice tutorial for you guys as well. Sorry you can't see me on screen right now, but There's plenty more videos coming out in the future. If you like these install videos, comment down below and let me know. I'll try and bring some out for you guys. Remember to make sure you subscribe to my channel, hit the bell button to be notified every single time I upload, and like this video, share it around, and if it's helped you out, just make sure you give it a comment down below. Love you guys as always. Thank you so much for the support you've given me so far, and you mean a lot to me. I will see you all in the next episode. Bye bye for now.